So now we have the carburetor out of the car. So our next step is to take it apart and see what we got to work with here. So right here is the air cleaner assembly. We're going to take that off, and it's got 8mm bolts on the velocity stacks, 2 on each side. So I'm going to take those off. I'm not going to change the settings or adjustments on this thing because I'm not doing all that. This is a very tight place to work, so it makes it somewhat difficult to work with. Of course, you don't need an extension this long. This is all I can find at the moment. And velocity stack number 1. Keep them in order. I don't know if it really makes that much of a difference, but might as well, right? For those of you who think rebuilding a carburetor is no big deal and it's real fast, no, develop some patience because it's not going to be fast. Velocity stack 2. And it seems as if the person who rebuilt this last, I don't know exactly where they had it rebuilt, but whoever did it last, I guess they didn't have the gaskets for the velocity stacks because looks like someone made these and didn't do that great of a job either. You can make a gasket, but it's preferred that you use factory gasket, but with this car, everything's stupid expensive, so. And for those of you who don't know what stupid expensive is, it's very expensive. Velocity stack, sorry. This should just lift off, yeah. As you can see, about the gaskets, they don't look that great, but I'm sure they'll work. You have your base gasket here, which is a factory gasket, and it's one of the main ones that comes in the kit. Pretty expensive. Don't mess this up. Set it over there. Now, the next part here is you have your top plate, which is held on by all these little nuts here, all over the top. So you gotta take those out. Those are also 8mm, so that's good. You don't have to change tools out a whole lot. You're going to want to take these off. Just loosen them. Now, I don't know if it matters that much, but I don't want to take a chance on warping any of this stuff. Because once again, it's expensive. Now right here you have a spring that goes from your throttle. Just disconnect the spring. Don't lose it. Stick it in with the other little parts and pieces. Now you're going to want little containers to hold this stuff in, like these are your velocity stack bolts. I have a big table so it didn't really affect me. Okay, so I cut so that we could get all these nuts out. I was taking too much time. Now this piece right here goes on this corner, just like this. What that does is for the spring. So make sure you have that in the right place and everything. So just keep it over here with all of your top plate bolts. Now, you're going to want to just lift this off carefully. Try not to rip the gasket. And here's your top plate. So you can see it's pretty nice, except for right in this area here. It had a fuel leak. We got to find out where that was coming from so we can fix it. But this is your float valves, and they seem to be working fine, so they're not gummed up. That's good. Of course, that will come in the kit, but the kit's expensive. I'm going to set that over there for now. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to try to remove this gasket without destroying it. Which can be rather difficult. I'm actually going to hold off on that because it is going to rip it. So, for now, I'm going to just continue with what I was doing. You got the screw here and the screw here, and these are shafts that go through for the floats. So you're going to pull those out. Which this one's been pretty boogered up before, so very dry. These have little washers with them. Don't lose them. They're copper washers. And don't bend this. And you have your float right here. Alright, so we've removed this float, and make sure that the little prong here is up. You want that up so that it can hit the valve. Now we're going to take this side out, which already broke loose. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but there's a hole in this bolt, and there's a hole right here. Porsches are racing, or race cars, so whenever it's set up for racing or when it's rebuilt or whatever, they'll screw all this in and then put a piece of wire through it. I'll show you that. And there's some on the other side to show that an inspector has looked at it and has approved of its settings and whatnot. So slide this out. Be careful not to bend it. Slide that out. Now, luckily, the owner of this car ran all the fuel out of it before he left it. That is phenomenal. If he had left it in here, we would be scrubbing and peeling, and it would be disgusting. There would be lots of crap in here. So, now these are your jets here. And it looks like this is 180, this is a 180, and this is a 180. So they're all three the same jets, which is good because that's how it's designed. One barrel per cylinder. You don't want to mess that up. These are your accelerator. People have different words for them, squirters, jets, whatever. You're going to want to take these off and make sure that they're not clogged. Now there's a tiny little washer right there. Do not lose that washer. So I'm going to look through it, and I can see all the way through it, so that's a good thing. And this one looks good too. And it's clear. So we're just going to put it right back in.